President Trump's inconceivable insistence that we need federal troops in Portland does not address the real concerns in our communities. We do not need or want federal troops in Oregon stoking fear, creating conflict.
This is an American city. We do not need any intervention. This is not a military target. The president will not find lawlessness or violence here.
Well, good evening. Breaking news right here on KGW with what you might call a unified voice this afternoon along the Portland waterfront following President Donald Trump's latest directive. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. Early this morning, the president announcing over social media he is authorizing the federal government to send, quote, all necessary troops to Portland. In the post, which seemed to take Pentagon officials by surprise, he called the Rose City, quote, war-ravaged, and says troops are needed to protect the city, particularly at ICE facilities he says are under attack by Antifa. We have live team coverage this evening as we hear from Portlanders and our leaders as they respond to the president's new order. Let us begin with Corey Johnson. Corey, you've been hearing from Oregon leaders at all levels. What are they saying?
That's right, David. Governor Tina Kotek says she had a call with the president this morning, this after receiving a request or an invite rather for authorization to send troops here to the city. Now, the governor says that she has not responded to that request. She says right now she's working to be clear with the federal government and Oregonians about what's actually happening here in Portland.
We do not need or want federal troops in Oregon stoking fear, creating conflict.
Oregon Governor Tina Kotek alongside Portland Mayor Keith Wilson held a special press conference Saturday afternoon in response to the Trump administration's push to send military troops to Portland. The president taking to Truth Social Saturday morning, saying he's sending the National Guard to what he calls war-ravaged Portland, an effort to protect ICE facilities against domestic terrorists.
When you go out to Portland and you see what's happening in Portland, this is like nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Labor Secretary and former Oregon Congresswoman Lori Chavez-DeRemer thanking the president for the announcement on X, saying in part, I've seen firsthand how lawlessness has transformed Portland from a beautiful place to live to a crime-ridden war zone. But other state and local leaders are calling it unnecessary. Kotek telling the public she had a call with the president Saturday morning and explained there was no need for guardsmen. And she, along with Mayor Wilson, have not requested governor assistance.
And I also said to him, we have to be careful not to respond to outdated media coverage or misinformation that's out there. We know what's happening in our own city.
Imagine if the federal government sent hundreds of engineers or teachers or outreach workers to Portland instead of a short, expensive, and fruitless show of force.
Oregon Secretary of State Tobias Reed, Attorney General Dan Rayfield, and Senator Jeff Merkley urging Portlanders to not take the bait. So far, the president has deployed troops to Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and most recently, Memphis. Each time the administration's use of National Guardsmen facing scrutiny and questions on whether it violates constitutional rights. Now, right now, it's still unclear exactly when the president would send troops here to Portland. Governor Tina Kotek during that conference earlier today saying that during the call with President Trump, she disagreed with his desire to send troops here. However, she said that call ended with him saying that they will continue their discussions. David?
Well, and given the Pentagon is saying very little when it comes to specifics, maybe, just maybe, that is a sign he is reconsidering. Corey, before we let you go, I understand we heard from House Republican leader Christine Drazen this afternoon. What is she saying about all of this?
Well, David, Drazen called out Governor Kotek as well as Mayor Wilson, saying that their assertion that everything is fine here in Portland is actually tone deaf. Now, Drazen says the city definitely needs some order right now.
All right, pointing specifically to that ICE facility again. Corey Johnson at City Hall. Thank you, Corey. Well, Portland Police Bureau Chief Bob Day at that news conference addressed reports of increased federal presence already in the city. Last night, we watched as federal officers with shields escorted a vehicle out of the ICE facility on South Macadam. A fairly typical occurrence at that building, we should say, though it appeared there were more officers coming out than usual. Earlier Friday, we saw some 50 SUVs filled with what appeared to be masked federal agents leaving a Customs and Border Protection facility in Northeast Portland.
They're not required to share their operational plans with us, but we do know that there has been an increased number of federal police officers deployed here in Portland, and I believe the reference to the armored vehicles is some of their equipment, which is not uncommon for them to have, an armored car or something like that.
Well, with Chief Day, along with other leaders, spoke from Waterfront Park this afternoon. The video we just showed you, as well as much of the discussion and the debate here, is all centered around Portland's ICE facility near the South Waterfront. That's where we find our Libby Dowsett. Libby, the president has essentially called it a war zone. Walk us through what you're seeing right now.
Well, we just showed up about a half an hour ago and we counted about 30 people here at the ICE building. You can't see them right now. They've settled along the fence line behind me, but there have been a couple cars that came into the building and were met with jeers and yells from the crowd. Now, earlier today when we hit the streets, it was much quieter, but still plenty of people with strong opinions about the president's statement, especially people who live right across the street here in the apartments.
My daughter, who's in Montreal, sent me a text that Portland was being invaded by federal troops.
But what Peter Morris found when he rushed to the ICE facility in Portland's South Waterfront this morning was this: not even a protester.
There's foolish politics, but other than that, nothing's going on.
Sia Wright and her daughter Reese also came to check out the so-called action.
Oh, my mom said that we should come drive down here and look at it.
Is there any escalation? Is there more down here than what we've seen before? And there's not. I mean, it's a beautiful Portland morning. It's sunny, it's quiet.
Sia's grandmother is Hispanic and was separated from her family as an infant. And her grandfather was a Japanese American who escaped internment during World War II. So she says the issues of immigration and family separation are personal.
Just leave us alone.
Just live everywhere.
Yeah.
People living across the street from the ICE facility at the Gray's Landing apartments say they just want the noise and violence to stop.
We've had quite a few rough nights over the 3.5 months now.
One woman who asked us not to show her face says sending federal troops to Portland will only make it worse.
I worry about it escalating things and more people being involved and it just getting out of hand.
Another resident welcomes the addition of more security at the site. She says some protesters cross the line when it comes to taunting ICE personnel.
Threaten them, get right up in their faces. I mean, you can only take that for so long. These guys are doing the job they were told to do, and all they're doing is lining up to let cars out.
Cindy says she was raised to respect authority.
I believe in our right to protest. I do. But protest without lies. Protest without violence. Martin Luther King managed to do it. Why can't they?
In Northeast Portland, Reverend Mark Knutson at Augustana Lutheran Church is preparing a prayer service Monday to bring the community together in peace. He says the idea of federal troops cracking down on protesters is the opposite of the church's teachings.
I'm appalled. Look at Portland this morning. Peaceful. People are going, they're taking their kids to the park. Other people are afraid to go to the park right now. We have members from 23 different countries. They are fearful.
He says he also feels for troops forced to patrol their own cities, but he believes we all must stand up for what is right.
I feel for people who live close to there, of course. That's got to be hard to have things going on, but it's not because of the people who are coming, it's because of what's there and what that symbolizes. And it symbolizes the worst of this country.
And he says that community service on Monday will focus on nonviolent tactics, just like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 6 principles for nonviolent direct action that he is handing out 6 p.m. on Monday. So David, again, it's very calm right now, as you can see behind me, but neighbors say just check back at about 10:30 at night, and that's when they say the real action starts.
Yeah,
We'll
definitely keep an eye on things. Of course, leaders again drawing that line between peaceful protests and vandalism and violence, saying the latter will not be tolerated. Libby Dowsett on the South Waterfront. Thank you, Libby. You know, we heard elected leaders today again and again reference the 2020 Portland protests. This is file video from there saying the events we have seen this year, small scale and near nightly protests outside the ICE building. And yes, along with that, occasional vandalism, violence, and arrests by no means compare. From their perspective, things are under control. You may remember this in 2020 demonstrations, some which turned violent, went on for months in the streets of downtown Portland, sparked by the death of George Floyd, then mushrooming into much more, including concerns over police tactics and calls for racial justice. The federal government sent in additional federal agents not requested by the state or local leaders, and largely it said to protect federal property and personnel. Since then, we have seen security upgrades at the federal courthouse, and government contracts show the feds are in the middle of a $4 million project to upgrade security at the local ICE facility, the one where Libby just was. The work began in 2022 and includes stronger perimeter fencing, new gates, reinforced security glass, and more flood lighting. In June, federal records show the government paid $220,000 to board up that facility's windows, which then caused the city to issue the building a land use violation. The city saying ICE did not get proper permits or approval to board up the windows.
Do we have threats against ICE? Yes. Are they happening in Portland? Yes. Are local officials doing anything about it to stop those threats or push back on the people who are threatening ICE agents? No, they're not.
Well, meanwhile, this week's deadly shooting at an ICE facility in Texas where a migrant died has sparked debate over whether heated political rhetoric is fueling violence. Conservative talk show host Lars Larson, you heard from him there, accusing Portland politicians of ignoring threats. Others pushing back, saying the real harm lies in how undocumented migrants are detained and separated from their families.
Violence that we have been seeing from them, the way they brutally arrest people and tear people from their families, I'm not seeing enough government officials doing anything about that. So if they're so very concerned about violence, then why are they not pointing at the perpetrators of that violence?
Just a couple of many perspectives there. By the way, we've compiled the responses from dozens of lawmakers and community leaders reacting to the President Trump saying he's authorizing troops to the Rose City. They are all up for you at KGW.com, but we have made it easy to catch up. Just text the word response to the number on your screen, 503-226-5088, and we will text you back with a link to the latest right to your phone. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage of this breaking news, including a special newscast tonight at 8 after the Ducks Penn State game, as well as on KGW News at 11. We'll also have updates as they come in on KGW.com, on our mobile app, and here on our free TV streaming app. That is KGW+. Okay, let's talk about your weekend now and what local leaders alluded to earlier. A beautiful day with folks outdoors enjoying the Rose City and beyond. 80 degrees on this Saturday evening in the gorgeous late September sunshine. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri's here. Joe, I hope you soaked some up because it sounds like a change is coming.
Yeah, but we don't have to see those changes move through until, I'd say, late Monday night into Tuesday. So we'll have a look at another day of more sunshine, at least to start things off tomorrow. But late in the day, we'll start to see some clouds start to increase a little bit. But from our Providence Park camera, we're looking at a temperature of 73 degrees in the Goose Hollow neighborhood of Southwest Portland. Meanwhile, let's go out to Wine Country, where we're seeing a temperature of 80 degrees at this hour. Not too shabby for late September. Tomorrow will be just as nice, maybe a couple degrees cooler. We do have a cold front that's knocking on our door, but as we zoom in a little bit, we're looking at some high wispy clouds just kind of filtering in off to the east, but for the most part, we're going to be looking at a lot of sunshine heading into tomorrow. So let's cue up the futurecast. Here we are tomorrow morning after midnight. A few clouds here and there. I think the places that we'll be seeing clouds most of the day will be along the Oregon coast, and with those clouds from parts of Astoria and Newport, there could be some pockets, some sprinkles and some drizzle, and that is the big rainmaker that's going to be moving through by Monday, but it's not going to be really working its way through the metro area until really later part of Monday into Tuesday, and some models are showing we'll be seeing those showers back off a little bit more, but get ready for some wet conditions at least Tuesday afternoon and beyond. I'll talk more about that in detail in my full forecast.
Oh, we knew it would come eventually.
Right.
Thanks, Joe. Happening right now, the Big Ten in action as the Ducks face off against Penn State with John Adams live at a local watch party. John, how's it going so far?
David, so much excitement already in this game. We are at Grand Central Bowl in Southeast Portland, where a Ducks alumni watch party is underway. Coming up after the break, we will have much more as the Ducks take on Penn State in the biggest game of the year thus far. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back. Months of anticipation have come down to this. The Oregon Ducks on the field right now facing the Penn State Nittany Lions. Scoreless right now, and a bit of a shameless plug. You can watch the game on KGW on TV. Lots of people doing just that. John Adams is live at a local watch party at Grand Central Bowl on the east side. So, John, what's the mood like so far?
Well, David, this game has just kicked off about maybe 15 or 20 minutes ago, and there's already been a lot of excitement. The Ducks have had a couple big plays thus far and a tough stop on fourth down that definitely got the crowd involved. But as you can see here, there is an alumni watch party going on, and there's memorabilia featuring everything Ducks, including, look at that, a 1995 Oregon versus Penn State Rose Bowl shirt. Definitely a lot of classics here. We're going to take you through the bar a little bit as we continue on with the game. As you can see behind me, tons of folks are in attendance. And I talked to a couple Ducks fans earlier today before the game kicked off, and they're calling for a big Ducks win today. One person even saying they predicted Ducks winning today 58-12. Thus far, no scoring in the game that you can see right now on KGW, but I can tell you what, the roof is about ready to blow off the Grand Central Bowl here. The first time the Ducks punch it into the end zone against Penn State. So we'll be here throughout the night talking to Ducks fans, and we'll have a live recap coming up after the game on the special edition of KGW News. David, we'll see you then.
Nice to see some green and gold where you are, because across the country in State College, it is a whiteout, as you know. John Adams, enjoy the game. Let's hope for good things for our Ducks tonight. Thanks, John. Joe's here with us now. You know, it's a rematch game, and you can't help just hoping that the outcome, despite that
goes
crowd,
our way, right?
It's like 106,000 people in Beaver Stadium, you know, waving their white feathers and the fans shouting.
And
That's a tough crowd, right?
Tough crowd. And you think, oh, it's the biggest stadium in the country. It's not. It's top five,
Second,
but it's
right?
not. It's second
Something
or
like
third.
that.
I think Michigan is the biggest one, regardless.
Mind-blowing to watch it.
It really is, and
Cheer
a lot of
you guys
excitement from coast to coast tonight. And as we look at the forecast, we're going to be looking at some very pleasant conditions going into the rest of the weekend. Case in point, along the Central Oregon coast from our Chinook Winds casino camera. Yeah, you got a little bit of some mist out there, but still, you got a beautiful night ahead with a temperature of 62 degrees at this hour. Tomorrow's day planner, we're going to be looking at clear skies a good portion of the morning and into the early part of the afternoon. Then we'll start to see some clouds start to increase by the later part of the day. Showers do return by the later part of the day on Monday, but I think the more measurable amount of rain we'll start to see won't move in until late Tuesday afternoon into the overnight hours from Tuesday night into Wednesday. Regardless, we are going to be seeing a strong system move in, and yeah, it will be feeling more like fall around here over the next couple of days. This is our first cold front that we're going to be seeing moving in by tomorrow, but it'll really impact folks along the Oregon coast. Daytime highs will be flirting with 80 degrees tomorrow. You can kind of see on the futurecast, most of those clouds just hug the Oregon coast a good portion of the day tomorrow with a little bit of some light spotty showers, but the measurable amount of rain won't move in until I'd say early Monday morning, and when it does, it will be heavy at times. Right around 9, 10 o'clock is kind of the timing with this system that's going to be bringing in more of the rain along the coast. But again, as it filters into the valley, it's just going to be pretty broken up. As we go ahead into Tuesday, yeah, we're looking at mainly dry conditions to start things off, but late Tuesday night and into Wednesday, that's when the real serious rain will start to move through. Over in Vancouver, from the Springs at the waterfront there, temperature of 78 degrees. Winds are pretty light coming in from the west, southwest of 6 miles an hour. And the Oregon Zoo right now, still got a few people enjoying the last couple of hours of the zoo. 72 degrees there along Highway 26. Rain chances this week they'll gradually increase, and yeah, this pretty much looks like a fall forecast for sure. From basically Tuesday night all the way into Thursday and early Friday morning, we will be seeing that threat of rain, but I think the heaviest will be falling between Tuesday night and into Thursday. With a chance to see some thunderstorms materialize into Wednesday and Thursday, we could be seeing those rainfall amounts shoot up a little bit higher. But daytime highs were right around 80 degrees, about 7 degrees above where we should be for late September, and 72 throughout parts of the Central Oregon coast. Tillamook, you saw 72 degrees, and then it was just as nice along parts of the Washington coast. So tomorrow we'll be seeing some cloudy conditions along the Oregon coast, and we'll start to see those clouds increase by the later part of the afternoon, early part of the evening, but I'm not expecting to see those clouds really impact our temperatures much. Still looking at temperatures tomorrow right around the mid to the upper 70s. A few places could get close to that 80-degree mark. By Tuesday, showers arrive late, but again, I think it's going to be more impacting folks along the coast throughout the first part of the day. Rain will be a big factor heading into Tuesday night into Wednesday, with a threat of some thunderstorms moving through for both Wednesday and Thursday. And then going into Friday, we'll be seeing some early morning showers, and then we'll gradually start to dry out. But Wednesday is October 1st, and it will be feeling like it. But this, again, I talk about this a lot this time of year. A great time to still spend some time outside. Some models are still showing early, middle part of October. We'd be looking at mid to the upper 70s. So the warm weather is not over just yet.
And it can change hour to hour, day to day, right?
Go.
That's part of it. Hey, I love that you're wearing purple. It's kind of playing it safe, given Penn State is what, blue and white there. So got to be cheering those Ducks on. Okay, we'll be right back.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Okay, we want to recap our breaking news now with President Trump authorizing the Pentagon to send troops to Portland. That announcement on social media and authorizing, quote, full force prompted a nearly unified response from local, state, and business leaders telling the White House there is no need for federal intervention and sending troops would do more harm than good.
We are working to tackle our biggest challenges together. We don't always agree, but we do agree that we love this city and it does not need federal troops. Business perspective is that this is not good for our economy.
At this point, we do know the governor and the president are talking. We're working to get clarity on the where, when, the if, and how many troops the federal government plans to send. The last night, we noticed a large rollout of vehicles from the local Customs and Border Protection building. The police chief saying that was an increase in federal law enforcement to be able to provide support and security to that building, though nothing more. We'll have much more tonight on KGW News at 8, right after the Ducks game. Go Ducks, plus updates as they come in on KGW.com and right here on our free TV streaming app. That is KGW+. It is a beautiful Saturday. It is fall, but you got to get out there and enjoy the sunshine, right?
Right, because we're going to be seeing some changes, but those changes, David, don't move in until the early part of next week. So another day or so of a lot of sunshine. That'll be the case for tomorrow. Clouds increase by the later part of the afternoon, but still looking at daytime highs close to 80 degrees. I'm going with 77, and then showers move in by Monday, but the real heavy showers arrive late Tuesday and into Wednesday.
We'll worry about the rest of it later. For Joe Ranieri and all of us at KGW, I'm David Mulco. Enjoy the sunshine. Stay safe. Hope to see you back here for an update after the Ducks game tonight at 8.